My name is Jim Pizzey, and I'm the Technical Director at HBXL, and I'm going to be taking you through today, showing you about the integration between EstimatorXpress and BuildProjex, and how you can push all that lovely information that you've created within EstimatorXpress up to BuildProjex to help you to manage your job through the construction phase. Just before we get started, that you should, as part of the webinar software, you should have a questions section. So any questions as I'm going along, please do send them in, and I will try to cover those off and answer them as I'm going along. If somebody could let me know that you can actually hear me, because the last webinar I did, I got 5 or 10 minutes in and suddenly realised that nobody could hear me. So if somebody could send a message in to confirm that you could hear me, that would be helpful. But on the assumption that you can, thank you very much. Yes, great. Okay, so let's get started. So you should be looking at my EstimatorXpress screen here. So the scenario that I've got, I've created my estimate, I've completed my estimate, I've applied any product substitution, quantity rounding that I wanted to do. I've checked my profit and overhead, and I'm happy with the final cost to the customer as being, you know, where I want it to be. So I'm now ready to send the quote out to the customer to get the ball rolling. So to do the upload, we're going to go to the main estimate, and from here you'll see there's an upload button to BuildProjex. So I'm going to press that at the top. Okay, so on my account, I haven't got any projects up there at the moment, so I'm going to create this job as a new project. So I'll select that new option, and it's going to call it the same thing as my estimates call at the top there. Okay, so it's asking, the first thing it asks is to select who is going to be able to view this new project on BuildProjex. So I am Jack Black of Heartland Builders, and I am going to add a member. So I've got a few staff in here, as you'll see. I've also added my client already as a contact on BuildProjex. So I can now select my client, being Claire and Clive Thomas. So I'll add those and click OK. At the moment, I'm not going to invite any of the other employees because it's just the initial phases. I haven't won the job yet, so we'll add them as a later stage. So there are a tick lists down here of all the different things that you can upload from EstimatorXpress to BuildProjex. So initially, though, because we've just created a new job, it's suggesting these first 3 things are what you might want to upload. So it's going to upload my customer details and site address, and I can choose who gets to see those. So it defaults to only system administrators being able to see the customer's personal details. So I will leave it as that. But everyone is seeing the site address, because when we get into building it, it would be helpful if everybody knows where they need to go to to find the site. And then it's selecting both types of quotes. So this quote for the main estimate, that's a quote by build phase. That's how I've got my system set up. And then this second one here, the schedule of work style quote, that's the new quote that's been included in EstimatorXpress 2024. So if you haven't downloaded that, it's well worth downloading that if you've got active support and updates, and you can see that new style of quote there. So I get to choose who gets to see this, the quotes. So they're going to upload to a folder called customer quote. So I'm going to click on this button, and I'm going to add my customer as somebody that can see that folder. So click OK, and then I'll click next and let that upload. So click next, upload, and that just takes a few seconds whilst it prepares those documents and uploads them, creates the new project and uploads those details and those documents to BuildProjex. So that's now done. I'll click and have a look at BuildProjex now. So as you see, it's now added this project in. It's got my client details and the site address there. So if I click to open that and go into the project, so this front page is fairly bare at the moment. We haven't really added a lot. I've added the project team, so I've got myself and I've got my customer down there. And if I go to the Files tab along the top Files button, you'll see there is a customer quote folder, and within that customer quote folder are those 2 quote documents that I chose to upload. So the schedule of works, and then that second one is that quote by build phase. So they're all up, and they will be shared with the customer now. So if I go back to my project, so I could just send them a message. So I'll create a new group called customer correspondence and add my customer in. And then I could go into that and send a message. And you'll probably have some stock messages to send. So I'll say, hello Claire, you should have now been emailed the quote for the work. Please use this chat for any questions you have. I'll see you on Friday to go through it in person together. So I'll send her that message, so she should see that when she logs into BuildProjex. And I've got at the bottom here a sample of exactly what your customer will receive. So this is the automated email that will come through. So it will show that new files have been added to the project, and it will list the 2 files, and your customer can then click on those, and it will obviously open up within the BuildProjex website. So that's the first stage, getting the quotes up and sharing them with your customer. So let's say you then go and have your meeting with your customer, and you do your best sales spiel and win the job. So you're now ready to start using BuildProjex for real to help you manage the build. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just add the rest of the team to this project. So if I go into the project team, I'm going to click add, and I'm going to add in my other 3 members. So I've got Louise here. She deals with the admin and raising the invoices. Toby I've got as a site manager, and Ollie is an employee that works on site. So they are they're the I'm using four of my license users. So once you've added them, you can just choose. There are various options of what different people's roles are and what their Gantt chart access is. So I'm going to say I'm going to let Ollie have read-only access to the Gantt chart. I don't want him to edit it, but I do want him to be able to see what's going on and when different phases should be getting underway. And if you're brave, you can even show the same thing to your client, but it defaults to no access on that one. So I'll let them for now, and I will save that. So that's then added my team to the project, so they all now have access to that. So we'll now go back to EstimatorXpress, and we can upload the rest of the data to help us manage our project through that construction phase. So I'll just click back to Estimator. So at this point, you can, if you need to change the if you haven't done your build program, full stop, I suppose, you need to make sure you've done the build program in Estimator. Make sure you've got the start date set correctly to what works for both you and the customer. And then if you use the smart scheduler, you can obviously go in and set that up. So that will then round quantities to whole numbers for what you need to order, and you can merge together if you've got things that are a day apart. You can obviously merge those orders together to be sensible dates, sensible quantities, and obviously take off anything that you already have that you don't need to buy. So smart scheduler can be used just to get your list of resources, materials mainly, I guess, that are required for the job, and turn that into exactly what you need to order and when you need to be ordering it. The other thing that you could do at this stage is to go into the stage payment calculator and just make sure that you're happy with the settings in there. So whether you're doing regular weekly invoices, whether you're billing at the start and end of build phases. So get those set up, because that information can also be uploaded if you choose to use it. So I'm going to say that I've done all that for my job, and I will go back into the BuildProjex uploader. So this time I've got the existing job that I created a few minutes ago, or I could create a new project. So I'll go into my existing job. Okay, so those top three options we've already dealt with. We've already uploaded that, so we don't need to worry about that. The build program, so that's the most important thing, really. Obviously, everything within BuildProjex revolves around that Gantt chart, and all of the tasks that we'll be adding to help us remember when we need to be ordering materials, and when things should be delivered, and when we need to raise invoices. All of that is going to be, we're going to attach that to the build program, and that's going to be a live link, so that as the project develops, if you have bad weather and things get put back a week, that will then move everything along, because everything will be linked to that Gantt chart. So that's a really important and key to how everything operates. So we will definitely upload that, and then you can see there are several options as to what you add to the notes section of a build program, or to each bar on it, I should say. And I'll go and show you once we've uploaded it exactly how that works. But just to say that whatever goes in the notes, even though we gave our customer read-only access, your customer will not be able to see any of the notes. They are purely for your staff. So anybody that's set up as a member within BuildProjex, they get to see those notes. But anybody that's a guest, i.e. a subcontractor or your client, they will not be able to see the notes. So they are very much for internal use only. This first option, when we had people beta testing BuildProjex, this is customers, the beta testers asked for this option to be added. They said that they put a lot of time into describing the work within their customer quote for each build phase, describe to the customer exactly what they would be doing, and they wanted that information to be available to their staff on site, so that they could read the same thing, and that would help them with exactly what they need to do. So if you're the same, if you put effort into how you describe each phase of the build within your quote, you can choose to upload that description and that will then be visible to the guys on site, or any member that's looking at the build program. You can then decide if you want to have lists of materials, labour and plant that have been estimated to be required for that phase. So I'll tick all of those so that we can have a look at exactly how that appears. And then it asks you to choose which data to use. So you can either use the smart scheduler outputs, or you can use data from the reports. So if you've got smart scheduler, if you've used smart scheduler, you should always use that data because it's more relevant. You know, things are rounded, things are amalgamated, yeah. So it defaults to that because if you've used it, it's definitely better, more relevant stuff to be uploading. So I will leave that as it is. The next option here is we can upload any of the data reports or the graphs. And as it says here, there's going to be another step where we get to choose exactly which ones we want to upload. So I will tick that. And in ticking that, we get to set some options as to who gets to see those folders. So the data reports are going to upload to one folder. The graphs are going to upload to a different folder. So I will say my data reports. So this is me. Because I'm creating it, I'm always going to be the owner. So I'm going to say, right, I want Toby, my site manager, to see it, and I'll also let Louise see it. So I'm going to add those, and they will both be able to see any of those data reports that I upload. And then with the graphs, I'm going to use that to send my my customer a graph. So I'll just share that with my customer, and I'll pick a customer facing graph when we are on the next step. So you can choose to do it whichever way you like, or if you were you can obviously create other folders and move files once they're uploaded if you have certain graphs that you want internally and certain ones for your customer. So I'll show you how you can move a file once we've got things uploaded. The next two options are for using the stage payment calculator. So there are two documents that you can produce in there. The stage payment schedule, that's the main document that you would share with your customer, showing the dates, likely dates of each payment, the payment amount, and then a list of which phases of work are included within that cost. And then the stage payment cash flow report. So that is more for internal management, and that shows both when you should be getting payments in and also when costs are going out. So it shows when you're buying materials and paying subcontractors as well. So I'll choose to upload both of those. And then finally at the bottom, we've got three options for actually creating tasks. So I can create tasks based on the order by date for materials in the job. So I'll tick that. So the top option here is to whether you want to link the dates to the build program. So I'm definitely going to do that. That means, as I mentioned before, if the build program alters, it's going to move around my tasks. So if I have a week's delay or 2 weeks delay, then I can make that adjustment to the build program, and then all future tasks will be put back by a couple of weeks. So it's well worth choosing to link the order dates to the build program. I'm going to use that smart scheduler data as I did before. and I'm going to assign those tasks to myself because I deal with ordering materials. I can set up collaborators. It basically means other people will be able to see the tasks that are assigned to me. So let's say that I'll let my administrator know when I'm ordering materials, so she's aware that invoices will be coming in, and I'll also let my site manager know so that he knows that things are ordered and will be arriving in a timely manner on site. Okay, the next option is to create tasks for each date required. So this is for effectively when things should be delivered to site. So again, I'm going to link it to the build program so that any changes they get updated. Could use that same smart scheduler outputs for the quantities, and I'm going to assign this to my site manager as a task. And maybe I'll go in here and I will also share that with Ollie, because he's going to be the one that's probably receiving the order and moving stuff into the correct place on site for storage for those materials. So I'll add him so he's aware as well. Okay, finally at the bottom we've got the option to create tasks for each stage payment scheduled. So I'll do that, and I will assign that to Louise, and I will add a collaborator as my site manager because there needs to be some Toby needs to let Louise know that the project is running as it should be and that the work's done before an invoice is raised. So I'll let him know exactly when that's due to happen. Okay, so that's they're all the different options we've got to upload. So if I click next, we get to choose which of the data reports and graphs I want to upload. So I can pick just tick the ones that I want. So I'll take those 5 data reports, and then with the graphs, I was gonna share this folder with my customer. So let's send the sales price by build phase report graph, rather pie chart it is. So click next and then click upload. So that's then going to probably takes a couple of minutes to work its way through all those different things, and it extracts the data required, works out when things should be, and uploads and creates all of those tasks and files and so on. These stage payments, here we go, it's asking me another question. So with the stage payments, if you're using the stage payment calculator, there are a couple of ways that you can set up your payments. You can either choose to bill weekly, and then it will so it will be a hard-coded kind of date and an amount, or the default is to bill based on the start and end dates of each build phase. So I think it defaults to billing for materials at the start of the build phase when you're going to be getting them delivered to site, and then billing for the labour, plant, subcontract, sundry costs at the end of build phase. So once that phase is completed. So if you've set it up to operate in that way, the system's saying, oh, do you want me to split up those payments and attach that to the Gantt chart so that, again, if anything moves, then the dates of the invoicing amounts can also be moved. So I'll say yes to that. The downside of that is that it's going to break it up into a lot more payments, because what could have been one payment on a particular date for items happening in 3 or 4 different build phases suddenly that's broken up into one payment for each build phase. So it's going to add more tasks, but it's yeah, the advantage is that as the build program changes, as the job ebbs and flows, it will update the dates of when things are happening, and you don't have to manually shift all those along yourself. Okay, so that's finished its uploading. So let's swap back to BuildProjex now. And you can see on this screen, we've now got a load of tasks appearing. Okay, so the first task is the 25th of June. So in a minute, I'll adjust the start date of my job, just to show you that they are all gonna move around. So let's go to the Gantt chart, and we should see that the Gantt chart that I set up in EstimatorXpress has been uploaded. Let's just go into I just click on the edit for this first one, the foundations. And I was mentioning about the notes. So if I click on the notes section, so you can see there, it's got the paragraph of text from my customer quote. And then it's listing the materials that are required. Oh, I didn't mean to click on that. The labour required, and then any plant. So it's got my ready-mix concrete, it's got my labour for the foundations, and it's got my backhoe, excavator and driver, and the 20-ton tipper. So yeah, so that's additional information that's attached to each bar. So any of them you click on. So if I went to plastering and looked at that, you could see similar information for that. So yeah, that's easily accessible for anybody on site, anybody in the company to see the resource requirements for each phase. So okay, so let's change the start date now. So if I go into project info, it's set as the 26th. So let's say that I think I can start it a couple of weeks earlier. Let's go to the 12th, and I click OK. So let's then obviously move that back here. But if I now go back to my overview, and you can see that first material order I should have done yesterday. So I think that's probably still doable. So that's fine. So all of those have now been shifted based on that update to the Gantt. If I go to let's just go to the task tab. So you can see at the top here, we've got a number of different material orders. So if I just click into the first, so this is order of materials for the footings. It's got the list of materials and quantities. And obviously I assigned it to myself, Jack Black, and then I set up my site manager and my administrator as collaborators. So that's all come through there. You'll see here that these tasks get tagged. So these are all tagged as this light green order. So I can filter based on the tag. So if I filter to delivery, so this is showing me when all of the materials should be delivered to site. And again, if I click into the first one, you can see that I've got it's assigned to the site manager, and also my guy that works on site, Ollie, is also set up as a collaborator, so he gets some foresight of when things should be arriving. And then the third tag we've got is payment. So these are assigned to my administrator, and it's showing based on the information from the stage payment calculator when invoices should be raised, what they're for, and the amounts. If we go to the calendar, we can see all of those within all those tasks within the calendar too. So let's just jump to August, and you can see that's quite a lot of tasks set up for various people. So the light green being when things are ordered, the orange being when things are being delivered, and the dark green being when invoices require raising, or parts of when amounts for each build phases are ready to be invoiced. It's probably a better way of putting it. Okay, and finally, let's go to the Files tab. So another couple of folders have appeared: the EstimatorXpress data reports, the EstimatorXpress graphs. As you can see, the graphs is shared with my customer, and that's got that one file in, being the sales price by build phase pie chart, or donut chart maybe. And then in my data reports, I've got the 5 smart scheduler reports that I chose to upload. And then I've got my 2-stage payment documents. So if I wanted to share this stage payment schedule with my customer, I could then, let's move it into the customer quote folder. So I could click on more options, and I could move, or I could copy if I wanted. I'm going to choose to move that, and I'm going to select customer quote and click move. So that's now, yeah, that's what it says on the tin. It's moved it into the customer quote folder. So, and that's now shared. That folder shared with the customer. So that file is now visible to the customer. Okay, so that, I think, is that's the overview of how EstimatorXpress can populate build projects to help you efficiently manage your jobs. Just incidentally, if you find that your job changes partway through, if there's a variation to the work, if you need to go back into your job and re-quote in some way, then you can re-upload. Ideally you wouldn't have to, but certainly you can re-upload. So if I went back into Estimator and I uploaded again, it would say, oh, you've already got a load of tasks for material orders. What do you want to do with them? So you can choose to delete everything and just start again. You can choose to delete. I think it's just leave any tasks that are completed or in. I can't think what the word is now. Let's if I just go into a task and edit that, there is, yeah, okay, so there's a status of not started, in progress, or completed. So it will give you the option to delete anything that isn't started, or to, yeah, so you can delete everything, things that are completed, things that haven't been started, or I think anything in the future. So anything existing, even if you haven't started it, will remain, but anything future that nobody should have done anything to yet, and then uploading is the same thing. Do you want to upload things that are effectively in the past from this point, or just things in the future? So there are there are options within the upload to help you deal with when you end up in a mess, having changed the job partway through. So yeah, hopefully the right tools are there for you, if, as and when required. So yeah, I think that's everything that I was going to talk you through this evening. If you have any questions, please do send them in now. Happy to go over anything, any parts again, or if I haven't covered anything, please do send them in.